Welcome back, everyone. Sheepdog Smokey here, and every day we see more proof that liberals actively want the country to crash and burn because they couldn't rig the election in 2016 and have it work. We've had members of state legislatures post horrendous things on social media. They are not disciplined. They're not even talked to by anyone. Twitter, Facebook refuse to remove their posts wishing death on people. There's quite literally someone who tweeted in the last day or so that they want conservatives or Trump supporters to shoot themselves. Now, of course, when pressed on this, it was sarcasm. It was a joke. It was exactly what President Trump wasn't doing when he said to do it, but he said it was a joke. He said it was sarcastic. No, President Trump never, ever said to go take aquarium cleaner. He never said to inject anything into yourself. He has never said any self-treatment should be done. Rather, he is speaking about what doctors and other medical researchers are telling him they are doing. Now, I would dare you to find me anyone in the U.S. Congress, save Rand Paul, or anyone in the Trump administration, save Ben Carson, who could speak about medical research and medical issues the same way that the medical doctors do, without an exact script in front of them. You'll fail. Rand Paul is the only person I know of in the entire U.S. Congress with a medical background. I may be wrong. If I am, I will admit it. Dr. Ben Carson is a neurosurgeon, and he is currently the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, and doing a wonderful job. But people can't stand that the president is not bowing to them and apologizing for not handing them sound clips. And then we have Nicole Wallace on MSNBC actually said the silver lining to COVID-19 may be that it damages President Trump. You have someone actively telling you, I hope people die so Trump looks bad. Never mind that he dispatched the medical ships from the Navy to Los Angeles and New York. Never mind that he is, when he is legally able to, sending respirators and other needed equipment to hospitals. Never mind the Corps of Engineers is setting up temporary hospitals and convention centers all over the country, only to find out they don't need them that badly. Meanwhile, Governor Whitmer has, in Michigan, decreed that you may not have joint replacement surgery, you may not buy plants, you may not buy home repair items, but you can still get an abortion. And then after a protest, she has her pet monkeys at Politico say that in Lansing, you can't find anyone, Democrat or Republican, on or off the record, who doesn't believe that the governor is doing a wonderful job. Never mind that there were at least two so far large protests outside her home in Michigan. It's honestly very surprising that the media gets away with their Pravda-esque propaganda as much as they do. Even with the indoctrination we've seen for the last 3+ decades, from its infancy in 1990 through today, when it is all but entrenched in public education, that you can honestly have people who see on the news protest after protest after protest, yet they still praise Blackface Northam for passing draconian gun control or saying the state won't open for 2 more years. They praise Whitmer for saying you may not have anyone in your vehicle with you at any time. They praise Cuomo for spreading his lies and for ignoring an offer of aid from Remington when they offered to build ventilators. My mother asked me earlier today, why doesn't Remington just leave the state? And aside from the finances of that, finding another place with the right amount of space and the right layout, setting everything up, getting the production going prior to shutting down New York so they don't suffer, they don't want to harm the many, many people who work for them in New York. The people who lose their jobs would then affect other businesses by not being able to patronize them as much. Remington is staying in New York and suffering for it because, one, it is prohibitively expensive to move state, but also they have a lot of people there that Remington doesn't want to just say, sorry, you're out of luck. If you can't move to Texas or Oklahoma or Georgia, screw you. It really does show the divide between liberal and conservative. As liberals tweet out that Trump supporters should shoot themselves, Twitter is silent. As an MSNBC anchor, when Nicole Wallace says the silver lining of coronavirus may be that it harms President Trump, no one says a word. Imagine in 2009 had someone said the silver lining of H1N1 may be that it harms President Obama. How fast would that person have had to move state, get a new identity, and have plastic surgery so they could go out in public? For crying out loud, they destroyed a rodeo cowboy's life for taking part in a bit they had done for years, all because he wore an Obama mask, which was the only mask he could find. In Hollywood, you're drummed out of the industry if you're not a raging liberal. I honestly hope that on the other side of this, the Hollywood industry and honestly professional sports are reduced to early 80s level. 1 or 2 movies a season from each studio. If I see cable networks begin to merge and combine and fade away and there's not as many channels because there's not as many shows, fine by me. We need, honestly, a reset so that these multi-millionaire idiots who live in their ivory tower cocoon are finally forced to learn the lesson that they are not rulers of the world because they lie for a living or play a sport for a few years. When you can have a basketball player who has a very tenuous grasp on English grammar actually say that President Trump should be removed because of grammar errors in his tweet, and people don't instantly say, dude, shut up and play basketball, there's something wrong. When a cable news network host can actually hope for a pandemic to get worse so that her political party can win, we're already inside the gates of hell. These people are honestly the kind who, when the end times is finished and Christ returns to set up his millennial kingdom, will be demanding that their lawyer be allowed to sue him for not letting them into paradise, and crying as they're banished to hell. And Satan will laugh his horned butt off as they wail and gnash that it's just not fair. Angela Merkel has all but destroyed Germany. Weirdo boy with his wife that could be his mother in France. My great uncle died 8 June 44 to liberate France from the Nazi regime. Another great uncle fought Rommel in North Africa, then came to D-Day. Took home a bullet in each leg. Another great uncle had a torpedo hit his ship that thankfully did not detonate. All to liberate Europe from a socialist tyrant. Only for 70 years later, socialist tyrants to take office, and thanks to a very slow indoctrination in the education system, the plebs are cheering. I don't know what else I can say on this. I seem to be a broken record. But honestly, we need a reset. We need the plethora of cable news channels to be culled to a handful. We need the movie studios that put out 20 crappy movies a year with 1 or 2 gems to be reduced to 80s level, where they put out 1 or 2 or 3 gems a year and nothing else. Honestly, they would see that they're spending less money. The morons like Lawrence or Milano or any of the rest of them who scream and yell about how evil the very people they depend on for their livelihood are because we didn't vote as they said to, they need to retire and go live in their luxurious homes and ignore the world they hate. I don't know, I've talked long enough on this. I'm getting upset, I'm getting a headache, I'm going to stop. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, be civil. I get passionate about things. If Milano or Lawrence or any of the other twits show up, I won't be vulgar, but I'll be blunt. The rest of us, we can discuss and debate as civil, logical adults, because we are, they aren't. As always, please remember to like and share the video to grow the channel and widen the conversation. As you saw yesterday, I am planning on trying to add an oral history segment to it. It may eventually grow into its own thing. But you'll want to be subscribed with notifications on so that you are aware of all content as it posts as I try to add these new segments. Until next time, everyone, have a wonderful day. And remember, be safe, be smart, be healthy, be careful.